Hello folks and welcome to your ticker guy video for the weekend. Hey listen, I want to talk to you about something really important today, and that's gas prices. Oh my god, they're expensive, and you know what's going to get worse, and you know what, we've also got this thing, house prices, and they're going down, and that's going to get worse too. What the hell is going on here? Well, let me kind of put it in context for you and try to get it all in 10 minutes because that's all YouTube gives me. Here's basically the deal. Starting about 2003, we had very, very low interest rates, and we also had all kinds of bankers out there saying that you could buy $1 million house, and you could tell us how much money you made, but you didn't have to prove nothing. Well, you know what? A lot of hairdressers bought $500,000 houses, but they don't make enough money to pay for them, and they took out these exotic mortgages, these things called option arms and other exotic instruments, and they couldn't make the payments when they got reset. So what's happening now? Well, because those people were buying houses they couldn't afford, they kept driving the price up. They got people to put in appraisals that said, hey, this house is worth $500,000. No, it sold for $300,000 a year ago, but you know what? Today it's worth $500,000. And all of this funneled on through. Well, now people can't make the payments. They go into foreclosure. The banks get them back. And the bank has this $500,000 mortgage on a $500,000 house because they didn't make him put down any money either. Well, now it goes out to auction, and the best bid that they get is $250,000. And the bank says, we're not going to take that. So they take the house back. They don't sell it. Fine, except they're keeping it on their books as worth $500,000. That's a problem. Because the bank thinks that it's got lots of money, it's got a lot of assets, it's in great financial condition. In truth, it's not. So what's that got to do with gas prices? Oh, a whole lot, actually. You see, it's the same kind of fraud that's going on in Washington, D.C., every month with this consumer price index. They put this thing out that tells us how much inflation we have and the prices that we pay for things. And before Bill Clinton was in office, they used to go to the store and they'd buy a loaf of bread and a block of cheese and a gallon of milk and some eggs. And they got these surveys, and then they went and they got the gas survey from the Lundberg survey that comes out once in a while, and it told them how much gas is in different parts of the country. And they added all of this up and they took an average and they said, hey, you know what, that's the consumer price index. Okay, great. When Bill Clinton came into office, he applied this thing through the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is the organization in the government that compiles this fudge factor. They call it a seasonal adjustment. Well, what is it? Well, they take about 2 to 3/10% every month off of those numbers. This has been going on since Bill Clinton was in office. That's bad because when you take 3/10% and you multiply by 12, you get 3.6%. On the bottom, it's 2.4%. So when they say that inflation is running 2% a year, hey, that's great, right? That sounds fantastic. It's not going up much at all. No, not really. It's really going up 4.5% to 5.5% because they're deliberately understating it. But when you get your Social Security check, if you're on fixed income, your Social Security check goes up by 2.5%. See, the government screws you. Good morning. Now, what's even worse is you think that prices are only going up 2 or 3%. So when you go in for your raise to your boss, you don't go in there and say, hey, you know what, I need 5% more money. He says, well, you know, I can only give you 3. You say, well, at least that's as much as inflation is. No, it's not. You've been lied to. Again. Okay, so now we got 2 lies. Well, all of these banks, they're doing this all the time, and the government's doing this all the time, but it gets even better. See, the government, you know, we have the Social Security and this Medicare program, and now we have Medicare Part D. And the comptroller of the currency said that that was a $53 trillion debt that the government wasn't paying attention to. Well, we only claim that we owe $9 trillion in debt, but in reality it's $53 trillion more. So we got the government lying about how much it owes. We got the government lying about how much prices are going up. And we have every bank in the country lying about how much the things that they own are worth. Well, is this good? No, it's not good. But why does it make the price of gas go up? Well, quite simply, see, we don't buy most of our oil from people in the United States. We buy oil from places like Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, Canada, Mexico. And those countries don't have to listen to our bullshit coming out of our politicians' mouths. They can look at the reality. And what they look at is, you know what? Eggs went from 89 cents a dozen about 6 months ago. Now they're $1.85. Milk used to be 3 1/4 a gallon. Now it's 5. And they say, hey, you know what? Those numbers are false. And then they look at all of the real estate that's on these banks' balance sheets, and they say, you know what? That's not worth what they say it's worth. And then they look at what's on all these investment banks' balance sheets, and they say, these guys say they have these things called level 3 assets, and they're worth $30 trillion or $30 billion or whatever, you know, $1 bazillion. They're not worth anything. At least we don't think they are. Then they look at our federal government and they say, the government says they're only $9 trillion in debt, but we know there's $53 trillion more. And they say you're a nation of liars, top to bottom. So what do? They say, you know what? The dollar's not worth as much because the dollar is America. And so they turn around and they depreciate our currency. And we need, because we spend so much, folks, $20 billion a day from foreigners in order to keep our government running at whatever price we have to pay to get them. So unfortunately, all of this fraud, which you, I, and everybody else have sat there and allowed to happen, is the reason you have $4 a gallon gas. Why? Because the dollar's in the tank. How does the dollar get out of the tank? Very simply, the fraud has to stop. All of these companies that have these assets need to actually take whatever the value is in the market, and that's what they need to be declared at. The government needs to tell the truth. We're $53 trillion plus $9 trillion in debt. That's 62 for those of you that have passed third grade math. We're $62 trillion in debt, not 9. We need to start reporting the inflation index, the consumer price index. No adjustments. No adjustments. If the price of food goes up, then that's what you report. If the price of cars goes up, that's what you report. If the price of airlines tickets goes up, oh, by the way, that's going to be happening here real soon too, because, you know, oil's gotten a little more expensive. You report that too. You got to start telling the truth. How can you fix it? You get on the phone. You call your congressman. You call your senators. You tell them. You tell the presidential candidates. This is the issue we're voting on in November. We can't stand $5 a gallon gasoline. We can't stand $4 a gallon gasoline. Hey, listen, we had a big housing bubble. It's going to burst and our houses are going to go down in value. There's nothing we can do to change that, folks. Everybody's telling you they can. They're lying. Houses will come down in price until the average house sells for 3 times the average income. That's a fact. I don't care whether you want to hear it or not. It's the truth. You need to get your arms around that. You need to deal with it because it is the truth. We need to start telling the world the truth. When we do, the dollar will go up and oil will go down. Oil is sold in dollars, but it doesn't come from us. Until we solve this problem, oil will continue to go up in price. It is not the evil oil companies, folks. It is the evil, greedy Wall Street people. It is your government that is taking hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in campaign contributions from the people that run these companies. It is your and my fault that we have $4 a gallon gasoline. It is also completely, 100% within our ability to stop it. You get on the phone now, you call Congress. You tell them, no more of this bullshit. Grandma cannot afford to have her Social Security check go up by 3% a year when the price of everything she has to buy goes up by 10%. We can't have that anymore. And if there needs to be a change in the policy of our government, we need to spend less, no matter what it is that we debate over to cut. That's what needs to happen. It's time to quit playing with people. The world doesn't listen to what we say. The world listens to what is. Our credibility has been destroyed. Call your congressmen. Call your senators. Make this the issue in November. Stop $5 gas.